So each autumn, ruby-throated hummingbirds must head south before the flowers die and leave them without food. By September, they arrive in places like Rockport, Texas. Some may have already flown over 3,000 kilometers from Canada, but many still face their greatest challenge. They must continue south, and for some, that means crossing the vastness of the sea. The local people put out feeders to help the migrating hummingbirds. Each arriving hummingbird feeds furiously. They must gain weight, converting sugar-rich nectar into fat. In just 3 days, a bird will almost double its weight. This is the equivalent of a human of average weight putting on over 50 kilos of fat. The arrival of the hummingbirds is a cause for a party, and Rockport hosts the Hummingbird celebration. People come from all over North America to see these tiny travellers.
Most unusual pictures ever.
You're going to have to show it to your friends.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At the peak of the migration, Rockport is temporary home to tens of thousands of hummers. This spectacle of so many hummingbirds can be found nowhere else on Earth, but it can lead to some people making a spectacle of themselves. The hummer helmet is all you need. Once the birds have put on enough fat, they move the short distance to the coast. The time has arrived for the greatest test of their powers of flight. The nighttime journey, at least 800 kilometers non-stop, is an enormous undertaking for such tiny birds. A last sip, and the birds set off across the Gulf of Mexico. Much about the journey remains unknown, but recently scientists have tracked the birds using the Doppler radar of the United States National Weather Service. Designed to discover water droplets inside clouds, this sophisticated radar can also reveal the path of flocks of small birds, including hummers. Once they're beyond the range of the radar, their journey is shrouded in mystery.
The tracks are evidence of one of the biggest migrations in the world. The animals move to the southeast, to the largest virgin savanna in Africa. When the rains come, all this will be covered in greenery. For some, like this antelope, it's too late. These Mongala gazelles are among the first herds that come from the Sud and move to the new pastures where the rainy season begins. The first rains have fallen. Now the gigantic herds arrive. Tiang are moving through the outback. The largest herds number over 20,000. It is thanks to the WCS biologists that we know of this migration. They spent thousands of hours in the air until finally discovering that the antelopes had indeed survived the war. Even team leader Paul Elkin needs luck to find the most stunning antelope of the Nile, the white-eared cob. The dark brown antelope are the males. Females and calves run alongside them. More than 700,000 cob take part in the migration, a breathtaking sight filmed here for the first time. The biologists estimate that over 1 million animals are part of this migration, comparable to the famous wildebeest migration in the Serengeti. During the war, many species were wiped out or driven away. But it appears that courtesy of their migration, the antelope were able to escape the slaughter. In Bandingalo National Park, all antelope come together. The reserve and the surrounding savanna are as good as uninhabited. Some 40,000 square kilometers of unspoiled grassland. This is unique, even in Africa. The Great Migration is triggered by the rain and the Nile. In the rainy season, the river floods the Sud's vast grasslands. Once the water has receded and fresh grass has grown, the antelopes will return.
For some drifters, Sri Lanka is the first sight of land for years, possibly decades. Turtle. She is one of 5 species of sea turtle that are born on these shores. The moment she's waited 20 years for is near. She spent the years riding the currents of the deep ocean. But now she must gain strength. So she's returned to the sun-drenched shallows, more fruitful than the open water. Grazing on seagrass and weeds, whipped up by the waves. Our science has no idea how, but she knows exactly the beach to which she must return. The beach she was born on. And on which she will lay her eggs. Our expectant mother knows her time has come. hauling herself up beyond the reaches of the waves. On land, her flippers are cumbersome. She was born on this beach, and now she's returned to lay eggs of her own. Like all the species of sea turtle that survive today, her kind have existed for 110 million years. Tonight she continues a ritual performed by her ancestors. This scene has played out since prehistory. She carefully buries her clutch. Her eggs must remain dry. They'll remain underneath the sand for 7 weeks. And she returns to the waves. Different species use the same beaches. Life goes full circle within just a few moments. While one species is laying, another is hatching. An eager olive ridley sea turtle is the first of her siblings to break the surface. They've remained buried for several weeks. They've waited until the sand cooled, and they knew it was night. Soon she's joined by her brothers and sisters, and the sand is a writhing mass of baby turtles. They know instantly which way to head. Perhaps it's the slope of the sand, or a faint glow of white on breaking waves. But somehow they sense the sea. Only a few centimeters in size, they face a migration before they reach the water. An exhausting start to life. Forced to rest after every few steps, they're in a race against the sun. It may be, during her crawl down the beach, the hatchling sets an internal compass, imprinting the location of her home. Most will make it in darkness. Once there is light in the sky, the predators will wake. Crows are gathering. A baby turtle would be a decent breakfast. With this species facing a high risk of extinction, every one of this clutch is precious. Scientists estimate, even for those who make it to the waves, just 1 in 1,000 will survive to adulthood. The last straggler, exhausted, must rest before the final push. A fatal pause. More dangers may await beyond the breakers, but those making it off the beach give these endangered animals a chance.
And the Amur is not just a transit route for humans. Chum salmon travel up the main river for more than 1,000 kilometers. On the land side of the Sikota-Alin coastal range, which is their ultimate destination. Some of the individuals fighting the current have come from as far as the coast of California. At confluence after confluence, groups of salmon leave the main river and turn into the tributaries flowing down from the coastal range, the Sikota-Alin. Up near the Pacific watershed, these clear, gravelly mountain streams offer perfect spawning grounds. The chum salmon are returning to their birthplace to spawn. The salmon are already expected. Sex is the last thing on their minds. Literally the last thing. For salmon, sex and death are almost simultaneous. When they finally spawn, these powerful fish are spent. These fast-flowing shallow headwaters near the Pacific watershed are rich in oxygen, just perfect for eggs and fry. The females choose a good spot in the gravel and clean out the sand. Then they release thousands of eggs to be fertilized in the water. By the time the eggs hatch, the parents will be dead. The fry will then travel down the Amur River to the Pacific. In 4 years, they will be back. Tons of protein and fat, arriving from thousands of kilometers away, are a boon to the local wildlife. What a break for a brown bear mother with 3 cubs to feed. No fishing skills are needed when the river serves up salmon all along its banks. Finally, the mother can eat in peace, while the siblings' meal is anything but peaceful. The more there is to eat, the greater their greed.
The painted ladies, it turned out, had undertaken an impossible journey, some arriving in Morocco from as far away as the Arctic Circle. This epic story begins as the cool, wet winter in the desert turns to a hot, dry spring. Painted ladies then turn to the north and suddenly depart. After crossing the Atlas Mountains, it's a short hop from Morocco to Spain. But painted ladies even farther south departed months ago from the tropical edge of the Sahara, riding warm African winds all the way across the desert and the Mediterranean Sea. They arrive in Rome, Marseille, and Barcelona and seek out some much-needed nectar. Then they mate and lay eggs.
in 6 to 8 weeks, a new generation picks up the baton and continues north. They fly across the Alps, fly up the Rhine, spreading all throughout Europe, stopping to create new generations all along the way. By the end of summer, they finally reach high into Scandinavia and then suddenly disappear. What happens next has been one of the long-standing mysteries in natural history. No one had ever witnessed the return flight south of the painted ladies. They simply flew to the north and vanished. It was long thought that they all died in autumn. In the fall, high in northern Europe, as their resources are running out, painted ladies do disappear. They vanish into prevailing winds 500 meters above the ground. Guided by internal compasses set on the sun, they begin to stream south, flying at around 50 kilometers per hour and up to 500 kilometers a day. Though these butterflies have never been there before, they are returning to the land of their ancestors. Millions will continue across the Sahara to the tropics. From Africa to Scandinavia and back, painted ladies will have traveled about 15,000 kilometers. It's the longest migration of any insect ever discovered.
Within days, nearly 5,000 kilometers of flat thirstland is transformed by just a few millimeters of sheet rainwater. It attracts thousands of pink visitors from across the subcontinent. The arrival of the flamingos is all about sodium chloride, basic salt. The rain has stimulated the hatching of shrimp that they feed on. The sheet water gives them the safety and an early warning against being ambushed. Their pantomime is only interrupted by a snooping jackal. He's heading somewhere else anyway. The smell of blood on the wind.
The Mongolian steppe is the planet's vastest grassland. Towards south, it blends into the Gobi Desert. How can this dry land bring forth a river? This could be Asia's Serengeti. Each year, 1 million Mongolian gazelles migrate across the plains, stretching along the Amur's upper reaches. Some herds number 10,000 individuals. Once they have left their wintering grounds, nothing can stop their epic journey. Where are they headed? For hundreds of kilometers, hills and valleys roll on in green monotony. But the herds are traveling towards a special destination, following changing routes from year to year, depending on the changing climate. The animals are moving fast, resting only briefly to graze. They get all the water they need from dew on the grass. Most of the females are pregnant. Then, one morning, the herd slows down. This is the place they had in mind all along. Gazelles are not the only nomads here. Mongolian herdsmen are also on the move and have been for thousands of years, yielding to the rhythm this land dictates. The only way to make a living here is grazing. Domestic herds need water and must stay near the river, in contrast to the gazelles. But both depend on ever-fresh pastures. This may not look like a crowded place, but look again. Tucked down in the grass are thousands of newly born gazelle calves. Being invisible is their only protection. Their mothers leave them there all day. These are the calving grounds of the Mongolian gazelles, the only place where the herds stay put for a week until the calves are ready to run with the mothers. Once a day, thousands of mothers find their calves to suckle them. Each calf recognizes its mother by her voice. The young steppe marmots always have their mothers close. As long as the marmot and gazelle mothers are relaxed, the little ones feel safe. This is one of the most peaceful places on Earth. That's why the calves are born here. But as soon as the calves can run, the herd moves on again, on the first great journey of their lives.
We are in the land of the Tartessians, the Turta, the herdsmen who raised red bulls. They wore helmets with horns like those attributed to the Vikings, and offered their bronze swords and shields to the water. The same water in which these black storks are resting during their migration from Africa. Their more abundant white cousins also arrive by the thousands. They have just crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and need the embrace of the Guadalquivir to regain their strength. But not all of them will be able to complete their annual odyssey. One of them has a broken leg and is unable to stand up. Her mate, who has been by her side for years, stays with her, waiting for her to get better. But that isn't going to happen. She tries, but the Guadalquivir claims her for itself. The mud traps her, and she has no strength left. The flock departs, and the farewell is but a glance. In some town in Europe, one stork will not return to the church tower this year, and perhaps someone will miss her, or perhaps not. The black storks broke up the flock that arrived from Africa weeks ago, and the mating pairs have spread out into their own secret corners of the river for a good reason. Four enormous pterodactyls that are always hungry and thirsty. Black storks prefer the trees. Shy birds, they don't like to have humans nearby, like their white cousins.
Thank you for watching. Did you like this video? Tell us in the comments, and please like, share, and subscribe to the Terra channel. Until next time.